Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to today's webinar on a graduate degree in Germany at the University of Heidelberg in water technology. We have with us today actually two presenters, but I only have one of the presenters in my slides, but the presenters will be able to introduce themselves here in a little bit. My name is Hani Geist. I'm the Senior Manager of University Relations here in the DAAD San Francisco office, and I will be your host for today, mainly working in the background, and I will also record this webinar. I will share the slides with you afterwards, and I will just give you a brief introduction about DAAD, but then the majority of this webinar will be dedicated to the SRH University Heidelberg and specifically the MA in water technology. With us today we have Dr. Ulrike Guy, who is responsible for this master's program, and we have with us also her colleague, and they will both introduce themselves here in a little bit. But before we start with the presentation, just a few housekeeping items. Again, I told you we'll just briefly talk about DAAD and specifically what scholarships and grants are available for those that are interested in pursuing a master's at the university, or maybe if you're interested in doing research and if you would like to apply for research funding, that's also available. And then, as I said before, we do have some time for Q&A, and feel free to send me questions as they come up. Before we begin, I just wanted to say again that yes, I do record this webinar, and I also will share the recording with you and the slides in the follow-up email. So keep an eye out for a follow-up email from DAAD San Francisco with a link to the recording and the presentation. And of course, you saw the contact information. Feel free to get in touch with us after the webinar. But for now, there is quite a bit of information during the webinar, of course. So first of all, just for you to know, you are all muted, but you are able to get in touch with me and the presenters using the question box. You can just simply type it in, and then either I will address it right away, or if it's a general questions, I will take it to the Q&A at the very end. If you check your GoToWebinar panel, you can click on the handout section, and there are two handouts. One is actually the presentation you will hear today, so you don't have to take any notes. And then there is an additional handout for you to download, which is a fact sheet on the master's program, Water Technology. So feel free to download this right away, or you can also go to our archive later on and download it later. Now, just a quick overview for you what DAAD is. DAAD is the higher education arm of the German government. We represent international German universities and research abroad, which means that if you do have any general questions about studying in Germany, about German universities, about preparations maybe you would have to take in order to study in Germany, you can always get in touch with us. We do have quite a few resources on our website. And then, of course, if you have specific questions, you should get in touch with the university. But if you are here in the United States or Canada and you have any questions about studying in Germany, feel free to get in touch with either the New York office or the San Francisco office in the United States, or the Toronto office in Canada. And so just as a summary, DAAD does provide information and counseling about studying and research in Germany. But we do also offer scholarships and grants, and those are available to academics at all stages and all disciplines. And very important too, this is available for individuals who have a Canadian or U.S. citizenship or live here legally. So international students and scholars are eligible to apply as well. And now I really don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that because I want to give enough time for my colleagues in Heidelberg to introduce their university and the master's program. but I wanted to briefly mention two scholarships and grants that are available specifically if you want to pursue master's degree or if you want to research in Germany. So the first one is a study scholarship for graduates. The deadline is coming up here pretty soon, November 5th. And this is a scholarship for you to pursue master's. So if you are interested in pursuing this Master's of Water Technology, you are able to apply for this one if you fulfill the other requirements. Seniors are eligible to apply. So if you're currently a senior, you graduate either this December or maybe next May or April, you are eligible to apply this November. If you do graduate maybe later on, or if you graduate or you want to take a gap year, maybe a few years, and just work, get some experience before you pursue the master's, you are eligible to apply for the study scholarship up to 6 years after graduation. And so this is a scholarship for up to 2 years. This covers living expenses. You will receive 850 euros a month, and you will also receive health and liability insurance. This scholarship doesn't require necessarily German language skills if it's not required as an application requirement from the program. But of course, as DAAD, we also like to say that it is helpful to know some German, but for the application, it is not a requirement. And so go to our website on daad.org to find more information and also more information on the application procedure. And finally, the research grant, if you maybe are interested in a master's degree, but maybe you want to pursue the master's in the US or Canada, but you are interested in research opportunities at the university, if you want to collaborate with professors, if you want to collaborate maybe with other students, and if you want to work on a topic, you are eligible to apply to research grants if you, of course, fulfill the other requirements. And we offer short-term funding, which is 1 to 6 months, and long-term funding, which is 7 to 10 months. And again, the deadline is coming up. Actually, I need to change this year. November 4th was the deadline last year. It is November 5th this year for the short-term and the long-term. We do have an additional deadline coming up next May, but that is only for short-term opportunities. So if you're interested in research, and that, of course, is available to students who are seniors who may want to do gap year, this is available to master's students, but also PhD and postdocs. So if you want to keep in touch with the university, if you find researchers you want to work with, I invite you to apply for the research grant to conduct your research. And so this is all I wanted to say for now. You can visit us at daad.org for more information. And of course, you can get in touch with me later on if you have questions. Feel free to also ask questions about the funding during the Q&A. But now I would like to hand over the microphone and also switch the computer to my colleague Ulrike, who is in Heidelberg, and who will present to you the Masters in Water Technology.
Good morning, everybody. We welcome you to our presentation. So my name is Ulrike Guy. I'm the head of the new master course Water Technology. With me is Bettina Pauli from the international office, and she will start with an introduction of our university here.
Well, let me first start with some facts about Germany, because you will come to a country where there are easy job options for students. After graduation, you get an 18-month job searching visa. So many of our students stay in Germany after graduation, and if they want to get a job in Germany, they usually find one. Germany is a safe country. You can walk home at night. Heidelberg especially is it's rather a small town, so it's very cozy and you don't get lost. In Germany, you have excellent public transport, even at night. We have a moonliner that goes home at 1 o'clock and one at 2 o'clock. The cost of living are around 730 euro per month. That covers accommodation, books, transport, and food. Of course, it always depends on how much traveling you would like and what expectations you have. In Germany, you usually do not have any language barriers because English is widely spoken. So you won't have any problems to get yourself understood, but we strongly recommend that you start to learn German as soon as you've made your decision to come to Germany. By the way, last weekend I went to France to have a coffee. France is only about an hour away. So Germany is in the heart of Europe, and it's very easy to travel between 8 or 10 countries. So make good plans for your time in Germany. We would like to welcome you at SRH University Heidelberg, a private university, one of the oldest and biggest private universities in Germany. On that map, you see several universities all around Germany. Berlin is in the northeast and Heidelberg is in the southwest. SRH has 10 universities under one roof brand, and in Berlin and in Heidelberg you can find English programs. The SRH University Heidelberg will give you an international degree made in Germany. All our programs, our English taught programs, are state-of-the-art programs. We offer 10 graduate programs that are delivered in English and one bachelor program in international business. For our international students, we offer accommodation on campus in our nice dorms with ensuite bathrooms and shared kitchen. You share the hall with students from 50 different nationalities. We have introduced a couple of years ago a new innovative and interactive teaching system. We have a hands-on approach to teaching and learning. So you will have practical exams like project works, case studies, and presentations. It's not just based on written or oral exams. Our semester is divided into 5-week blocks. So every 5 weeks, you go from one topic to the next, and you only focus on one topic. At the end of the 5-week block, you have an exam. So instead of having 4 or 5 different exams at the end of one semester within 1 week, you can study from block to block and have one exam at the time. We have more than 3,000 students in 6 different schools: engineering, business, psychology, therapy sciences, information, media and design, and social and legal sciences. So we are quite comprehensive. In more than 40 study programs, whereas 10 being taught in English. SRH University Heidelberg was founded in 1969, so next year we'll have our big anniversary of 50 years. We are international. This is why we want you to study with us. 20% of our students come from abroad. We are barrier-free, so we are a barrier-free campus. Some of our students are in a wheelchair, and we accommodate students with disabilities. We're innovative, so this is our core teaching system that we have introduced, which means that we focus on your competencies for the labor market. On our campus, you can live and learn. You have the lecture halls, but you also have the canteen and the sports facilities. And of course, you have the accommodation. There's a bus stop and a tram stop that brings you directly to the main station or into town. Have you heard of Heidelberg? It's a beautiful town. So more than 11 million visitors come to Heidelberg each year because it's romantic. It's old, it has a famous castle on a hill, and there's a river. The population is only about 160,000, but 1/4 is students. So the nightlife and the student life is quite appreciated by our students. There's a large choice of sports activities, and the climate is quite warm, so you have the Mediterranean flair in summertime. When it comes to the admission process, you have to apply online. Everything is online. Then your application will be evaluated by the faculty, hopefully successfully. After 3 to 4 weeks, you will receive a so-called pre-admission letter, which says that you have been accepted to our universities. International students then have to pay the tuition fees for 1 or 2 years in advance. It depends on the program. For water technology, it will be a prepayment for 1 year. After the payment of the tuition fee, you receive a final admission letter, which you need for the visa application. Americans, on the other hand, can come to Germany without a visa, and you can apply for the visa within 90 days here in Heidelberg, which we will support you. Of course, we offer some activities and some benefits outside the classroom. We give you all the pre-arrival support that you need. We offer advice, and we will support you. We have a number of student helpers from each country to make you familiar with our setup. We organize an orientation week for the new arrivals. Every week, there's an international culture club where you can meet all your fellow students, and we encourage you to do a presentation on your home country, for example. As I said before, we would like you to learn German. If you want to do an internship or a working student job, if you want to get a job as a working student, you need some basic German. It's much easier. So we offer free classes in German and in some other languages as well. If you plan to do a startup during your time on campus or within the 5 years after your graduation, we support you in our startup incubator. At the moment, we have 10 startups running. And of course, there is a career center. We help you with interview training, assessments, and a CV check, because an American CV may look totally different from a German CV. I already mentioned the campus. Here you can see some pictures. We have a science garden outside the university. The Blue Tower is our iconic venue. That's where the classes are for many of the programs. So I will now move on to the program of Water Technology and Master of Engineering, which will be presented by Professor Ulrike Guy. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. I'll be always available. So I was Bettina Pauli, the head of the International Relations. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good morning once again. So I want to start with the characteristics for our study here. So we have small groups of about 20 to 25 students, and that offers a personal contact to the professor. So we are mentoring them. We have a lot of project works where we work directly together. And we have a network of global players in the area where we work with a lot of companies. Here are 3 study courses in our School of Engineering and Architecture, where I'm the professor. So we have the International Business and Engineering, the Information Technology, and the Water Technology, where I want to come in detail now. So this program you can do in 18 months with 90 CP or with 120 CP for 2 years. The costs you see here are between 12,000 for 1.5 years and 16,000 for 2 years. For that, you also have a one-time registration fee about 650 euros. The living expenses in Germany, as Bettina told you, are around 730 euro. Coming to water technology, you know that we have a high environmental pollution, and also the climate change is coming. We have an increasing world population, and all this is related to water. So water is an essential resource. We have therefore the topic of industrial wastewater, the water for drinking water, and so we cover a lot of topics regarding this. We have flood protection, desalination, and everything is related to the topic of sustainability. Here once again some majors. We have water quality, water and wastewater treatment, and process simulation and management as main majors. But we have also including topics starting from resource-oriented sanitation in developing countries up to industrial wastewater treatment, and also, of course, water as energy source. Here you see the overview of our modules. So you see that we're starting in module 1 with water quality. Then there are coming 3 modules with water treatment. In all our modules, we are working together with companies here, so that the project works are really praxis orientated. This is also starting with module 5 for waste management and water as energy. This you see for the brown color, that are not only with water but also with some other topics. In all the modules we have management topics, as they are very important and also are included in the project works, the student research projects, or all other kind of examinations we have in this study course. Then we have a very big project about 7 weeks, which is our climate change mitigation projects, where you can really cover that topic where you are interested, depending on industry, or you can also do some projects in Africa. So this is very international. And it's the possibility to do an internship in this water technology course. Then you have to do a 4-month internship, and you gain 30 credit points for that. And of course, this master course ends with a master thesis. Who can study water technology? So water technology is open for all engineers. So for everybody who has a bachelor in engineering, mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, process engineering, of course, environmental engineering. But also students with a bachelor in chemistry or biology can study water technology. Then you have to do a technical preliminary course. This is 1 semester, and then you can enter the normal water technology Master of Engineering course. Your job opportunities are in international water companies and plant manufacturers, a lot of communal companies in the water industry, but also in large industries. Everybody has the water topic. And of course, you can work in research centers or institutes. Then here I want to show you just once again our homepage and the persons who are responsible for us. You see here Bettina once again from the international office, my colleague Sarah in the application management, and myself, who are the contact person for water technology. And then 2 other colleagues, who are also responsible for one study course for English master programs. Then I thank you a lot for listening to us, and of course you can answer questions.
Thanks
a lot for
Thank you to both of you for this great introduction. And I keep thinking about this coffee in France. Now I'm really jealous and how easy it is for you to travel. Growing up in Germany, I know how wonderful this is. And now that I'm here in California, it takes a little bit more time for me to travel within America and even to go back to Europe. So thank you again for that wonderful overview. I don't have a question yet from the audience, so I would like to encourage the listeners again to type in your questions. But I do have two questions that I had for you. So the first one was if you maybe could give, you addressed that a little bit, but if you could just maybe elaborate a little bit on if you have examples of alumni and where they work, and maybe also you mentioned startup companies and maybe what kind of startups they are, just for us to get a better sense of what they're working on.
Okay, I can answer that question about the startups. So there's a variety of opportunities. So of course, many students work in the digital industries. So especially our students from applied computer science or information technology. So they develop games or apps. But we also have a student group, for example, who has developed a very, very successful restaurant chain, which started with a little van on "My Heart Beats Vegan." So they are now so successful. They are offering a restaurant. We also have a cooperation between our School of Psychology and some refugees. Again, it's a food startup, and they are offering wraps and will also open up a restaurant. Another startup company has specialized on wine in very effectful packaging. So you can see there's nothing which is not possible.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. That sounds interesting. I think there's a lot of potential there. Then my second question was if you could elaborate again on the requirements and what American or Canadian students would need, because here in the US, at least, it's not uncommon for someone, for example, to have a bachelor's in maybe the humanities, but then may switch to natural sciences. And so what if someone, for example, has a degree in the humanities or social sciences, but is really interested in a master at your university in a more natural science field? So how would that student, first of all, would that student be eligible? And if that person wasn't eligible based on the bachelor's, is there a way for that students to get more experience and maybe through work experience would then be eligible to apply for the master's program?
First of all, for that we have our pre-course. So with this pre-course, if you're not an engineer, you learn all the more important things, and after that you're able to start the normal master degree course. So we have a technical pre-course, which is half a year, so one semester, and with this pre-course also other students with no degree, their bachelor degree and engineering, can study water technology.
But of course, every application would be looked at individually, and we would always ask every applicant to apply the documents online, and then the application will be evaluated. And sometimes, yes, the work experience may be considered as well. So if somebody has a specific work experience in that field for a couple of years, that may be considered. So we would look at every application individually.
We also do Skype interviews for that, so that we can discuss in detail about the experiences.
Okay, perfect. So to those that are interested, if you may not meet quite the requirements, yeah, please apply, get in touch with the university, and I oftentimes it may not be as strict as it sounds. It's just a matter of getting in touch with the university and engaging with the registrar's office. I have a question that's partially for me, but I would also then like you to follow up on that too. There's a student who's interested in the study scholarship, and I mentioned before that you have to be either a senior or within the 6 years of graduation to be eligible. So for students that are out and have graduated more than 6 years ago as of this deadline, you are eligible to apply to the study scholarship for your second year. So while you're not eligible in that case to apply for funding that will cover the full 2 years, and please also, just as a reminder, this covers living expenses and travel and health insurance, but if there are any tuition fees, then DAAD would not cover that, just as a side note. But so for those that have graduated more than 6 years ago, what you can do is apply to the MA program. And once you're admitted, so once you have that student status, then you're eligible to apply to the study scholarship through the DAAD USA office. If you graduated from a US or Canadian institution, and then you can receive the funding for the second year. Now for the first year, and that's the follow-up for you, is there any additional funding that maybe students, international students, can apply for on your campus, or maybe in Baden-Württemberg? Are there any special scholarships or grants available?
Well, we do not have any specific scholarships for international students, but of course every student that is enrolled in our university may apply to the Deutschland Stipendium. Mm-hmm. So that is a specific German scholarship, and there is a number like 20 or 30 scholarships available, which would be like €300 a month that every student at our university can apply to. Mm-hmm. And we also have a number of student job positions available, as well as in the international office, as well as in the faculties. So students who would like to do a certain number of hours as a working student in our university, that would also be possible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I do have another important question, and that is about degree recognition. So for someone who finishes the degree in Germany, you mentioned that there are quite a number of students who actually apply for a position in Germany afterwards or in Europe. But how is it, for example, for individuals who may for personal reasons or for professional reasons want to maybe return to the US or Canada? Do you have experience in degree recognition for those students?
Well, we are a German University of Applied Sciences, and our degrees are recognized all over the world, as well as any other German degree. So there is no difference between a degree from the University of Munich or from SRH University Heidelberg. It's a master degree, a master of engineering, or a master of science, or a master of arts. So I've never heard of anything that anyone would not recognize that degree. Mm-hmm. Did I misunderstand your question?
No. That's a good answer. It's just as a follow-up, and that's of course just a worry, like if someone goes abroad, just a worry if you're not familiar with degrees and if this is generally recognized. But I can tell you, yes, this is degrees from a German institution are recognized, especially now that in Germany you can pursue bachelor's, master's, and PhD that is on paper very similar to the degree you can pursue in the United States or Canada. As a side note, there may only be for certain degrees some like you won't be able to work right away, but this would maybe only apply to degrees like law or medicine or teaching. Really, only law degrees where in the United States or Canada you would need a special certification to work. Like in the United States for law, you would have to pass a bar exam, or you may have to have a certain certificate to practice medicine in a certain field or be a teacher in a certain state. Whenever there is a certain certification or test required in the United States or Canada to be actually able to work in your field, that's when you would have to be careful. But in terms of engineering, that is one of the fields where really it's very global, it's very international, and you don't have to have a special certificate. And as the colleagues in Heidelberg said, German degrees, and especially in the field of engineering, are very well recognized in the United States. So even if you were interested in coming to the United States or working anywhere globally, a degree from a German university, especially in engineering, will be regarded highly and will be recognized. So maybe the one thing you would have to do then is get an official translation, but that may be the only requirement for you if someone was interested in seeing your actual diploma or transcript. Did that answer?
But honey, excuse me, when for all our English programs, of course, the diploma certificate and the graduation, the degree is issued in English.
Okay, perfect. Then you don't even have to worry about that. So wonderful. So then, I do have another question, and that is like for specifically the water technology. How long has this program existed? So maybe also your experience in teaching and.
So we're starting this program. So it starts next year.
Okay, so those that apply now are one of the first in the first cohort. But of course, while the program is new, the university, as the colleagues in Heidelberg said, is an established university with a long, excellent history. So the program itself is new, but the university is very established.
Yes, sure.
All right.
So we are offering new programs according to the requirements of the markets, and water technology is a topic that is important for so many countries, be it as countries being flooded or countries with polluted water or countries that are below sea level, like the Netherlands, for example. So that is just that we develop new programs according to the requirements. We also have a new program this year, Big Data and Business Analytics, but also a program, Dance Movement Therapy. So in various fields we are active and always listening to what is necessary and how we are going to develop. So if we have answered all your questions.
Yes, perfect. I think you've answered all those questions, and again, this webinar was recorded, so you can listen to it again. You can review the presentations afterwards, and of course, you can get in touch with us afterwards. So I would like to thank both of you very much from Heidelberg. I know it's already fairly late, so you stayed late in the office. Thank you for that. And thank you for the attendees for listening today. And I hope I see you virtually sometime in the near future. Thank you very much, and you have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, honey, and have a good day. Yes, we are going home now.
You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.